Okay, we are, I guess, a couple of seconds early, but let's get started. Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome to another Catharsis Healing Talk. And we got a very juicy theme today, and Laura is going to get us started. Hi, Laura. Hi, Kate.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'll start first by a quick introduction. My name's Laura Ketty. I live out in Oregon. Also with us is Helmut and Kay Cordell Whitaker. And Kay will be doing the talking on a fabulous subject. Today's topic is about consciousness and the importance of consciousness. And today we want to ask Kay to talk about why does it all boil down to consciousness? What are we currently doing with our consciousness? Can we improve it and our awareness and control it better? And ultimately, why is this so important? So Kay, I'd love to turn it over to you now.
Thank you. It is a good subject, big subject, big subject. What the ancients say about consciousness is that everything is conscious, everything in the whole universe. What seems like blank space, the air, everything you could think of, the energies, they're all conscious, that they are all alive. And that's very different than the modern culture's way of thinking about things, especially the scientific way of thinking about things. They're kind of upside down and backwards from each other. But the ancients' way of looking at this, thinking about it and feeling and perceiving, is that life is everywhere. Everything is alive. Life is everything, everywhere. And it's all conscious. Whether it's a single subatomic particle, or it's a star, or a rock somewhere in between, a galaxy, everything that we might see on our planet, all the plants, all the animals, the air, the water, everything is alive and it's conscious. It thinks. Everything thinks in its own way. Everything has emotions in their own way. Everything feels, perceives things in their own way. And some that's very, very different one from the next. So when it comes to humans on planet Earth, we are as alive as everything else, and we are conscious. We have consciousness. We have emotions. We have thought. We have our senses, our 5 physical senses. We have spirit senses as well. And from the way the predynastic Egyptians think about the senses, the spirit senses, they've counted up quite a few. I think 360 or so. So that's a lot of different types of perception. That makes up a lot of what our consciousness is about and framed in when we're in a physical body in 3D time space, like our physical body here on Earth. We are living in a dimension that has our typical 3 dimensions and time. The ancients even talk about time as being something that has consciousness. So that's kind of a twist of thinking. That's something to make you ponder for a while. As human beings, we have this ability to focus our consciousness. And we also have the choice to not focus our consciousness. Not everything is quite like that. Lots of things in the universe have consciousness, and they are aware and they are perceiving. And it's that little machine is running full blast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They don't take their consciousness and narrow it down or diminish it. It's always running at full blast. But for us, we have this option. We can focus our consciousness. We can turn it in any kind of direction that we want. We can turn it to narrow out particular sensations coming from different senses, so that we are concentrating, say, on just smell. Maybe we're out in some really beautiful garden and there's all kinds of flowers there and herby plants and all that beautiful, sweet, herby smells are filling the air. We might want to focus our attention on just the smelling. And so we stop paying attention to what is visually out there in front of us. We stop paying attention to the sounds of things, or the touch, or our taste. We just want to experience more exclusively than the rest this smell. And that's a wondrous thing. It's a beautiful thing. And it can help us quite a bit when we really need to narrow down our perception. If we were in danger somewhere and we're sensing with our ears a sound that shouldn't be there, maybe it's at a distance, we might want to narrow everything else down and concentrate on that sound, and maybe concentrate on the looking in that direction to see what that is. See if we need to get up and move. Maybe we're walking on the train tracks and there's really a train coming. Maybe we can't see it yet. We need to know all these kind of things. We need to be able to focus our attention in different ways at different times. What we have learned to do in the last several millennia is to focus, to narrow our entire scope of senses, spirit senses and physical senses, down a lot. We don't have to, we don't need to, but we've learned to do that. It's become our habit. It's become our way of being, our way of thinking, our way of walking in our world, so to speak. And what we're doing is we're diminishing our focus. We're diminishing our attention. And that means we're diminishing our consciousness. As sentient beings, human beings on earth, we have this growth and change and expansion of consciousness through our years alive on earth in this lifetime, and through generations and generations and generations and millennia. We pass on the knowledge that we gain as individuals to our children, to the next generation. The knowledge that the generation before us had, they passed that on to us. We would try to keep passing it all on generation to generation. And the goal is that each generation is going to be gaining something with our consciousness, gaining ability with our consciousness, gaining awareness, gaining more and more ability to focus our attention. And that improves the individuals and it improves the species. That is a natural impulse that we have. But in the last several millennia, we've had a slightly different agenda come on the scene. And that is one of diminishing our consciousness, our attention, our ability to focus that attention, our sensory awareness, physical senses, and definitely all the spirit senses, to diminish it, to make us less aware and less able and less intelligent, less able to perceive on all these different levels, less able to think things out. And that's what we call our modern culture. The roots of it have been around for a long time. And with each generation, each millennia that's passed, we have made this way of living and thinking and being the standard, the norm. And this is what we should be doing to be, good humans, good citizens, good people of Earth, to diminish ourselves. And we learn how to not think for ourselves at all. We learn how to, what the ancients would call, go to sleep. We diminish our consciousness, our attention, our ability to focus so much that the ancients called that a kind of sleep. That we're not fully awake. We're not fully attending to our potentials. We're diminishing our potentials. So now that that we are coming to the end of that era, that whole world, as a lot of ancients would say, things have to change. They have to be different. Because as we have diminished our awareness and our consciousness and our whole attention, and we've gone to sleep and we've reduced our ability to think for ourselves, we're letting somebody else and something else dictate everything that we are supposed to be believing or thinking or doing, how we're supposed to interact with each other, how we're supposed to be perceiving things, what the truth of things are. And with the Hedekas tribe, they called this asleepness, this diminishment. They called that our masks. We've learned how to go to sleep and put on these different personas, ready-made personalities and pictures of ourselves with all the socially proper things to believe and think and say and feel and do in our lives. And we're kind of on an automatic pilot. our interactions with the world around us, with ourselves, with other people, triggers any number of different masks or programs that we have already built in our asleep quality of life, so that they could just pop up into our driver's seat and take over and respond automatically with a pre-written script. So when you think about it, look at it kind of that way, it doesn't look very enticing. It doesn't look so good for humans. We're being led around by our nose, like puppets, like pets. We're treating ourselves and each other like pets or farm animals. And that is very sad. That's very disturbing when you really look at it. You really start to wake up out of that box that we've been locked into. And that's what we need to do. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's why we decided we wanted to have a physical life on Earth in this time right now, because this is the end of that era. And it's the beginning of something new, a whole new kind of era, a new world, a new life, a new way of thinking and being, a new way of an internal life and an external life that we are sharing with everybody around us, and perceiving our connectedness to everything around us. We need to start waking up. This old world with this very upside down and backwards way of believing and thinking and doing, and all of it's asleepness. And it's like a kind of slavery. Literally, we're being taught from the time that we're born what we should be, how we should think, how we should believe, how we should feel, and what we should feel and think and do at any given moment. And that means we're not free. Not in any sense of the word, we're not free. And we've given up so much of our humanness, of our aliveness. We've given up so much. It's a painful thing to think about and really realize the reality and the extreme extent that we have done this. We have experienced this for a long time, and we've experienced every possible variation and angle of it. And now this world is done, and that experiment, that school is done. It's finished. We don't have to do it anymore. And one of the things that is our birthright is that we have the right to choose. We were talked into, we were conned from the time we were babies into giving all that up and living asleep, living locked up in a little box and being told what is real and what is true, and who we are, what we can do, what we can't do, how to socialize, and that we are separate, very separate, separated, not connected to everybody and everything, but separated. And the spirit senses like telepathy and empathy and and truly connecting on a deep, deep, deep level with other living things, other living people. We're told none of that exists. It's make-believe. But it does exist. It's the core of everything that is real and alive and existing in our reality, on our planet, in this universe. For us as living humans, it is the foundation. It's the core of everything. That's the basis of who and what we are. We are very, very deeply connected to each other, to all humans. Deeply, deeply connected to humans that have died and passed on, and to those who have not been born yet, and to all the trees, all the animals, and the water. Deeply, deeply, deeply connected to water on a very, very special level, to it and all of its aliveness and the aliveness it gives to us. We're connected to our air, we're connected to our planet, to the moon, to the other planets, to our sun, to the stars and the galaxies and nebulas out there and everything. We're very, very deeply connected, and there's information traveling on these connections back and forth that travels instantaneously. Doesn't have to travel through time or space. It's instant. Information, energy, life energy, all kinds of electromagnetic energies, thought, emotions, experience, everything is traveling, sharing one to the other. We're so connected, and it's all instantaneous. We need to wake up to all of that and choose to perceive it again. It's all a matter of choice. Any time during our lives, the many different lives that we probably all of us have had here on earth as humans, any time we could have chosen to wake up. It's not that these things were taken away from us and we unreachable and couldn't do it. It was part of our choice to experience the asleepness. We need that information. We need that experience for many things to come, especially this new world to come. We need to know what that is like so that we can really understand and appreciate what being awake is like. That's where we're headed. That's what the world is going to be like. Awake humans who are thinking for themselves, perceiving for themselves. No more masks. No more lies about who we are, what we are, who and what the world is, everything around us. No more lies about us being separated. But the truth of things and the pursuit of clear, honest, real truth of everything. And creativity. All kinds of creativity. Using what we think we know, but also using the things that we're going to be learning. And we've already started to learn things that are really real. There's a popular phrase out there that everything you think you know is wrong. Everything that you've been taught in this world is a lie. It's wrong. Well, unfortunately, that's true. It is very real. It's very true. We have to unlearn pretty much everything that we thought we knew, we thought was real, the science we thought was real. Even if you look at science through the last 150 years, they come up with stuff and ideas, and they think it's really real, and they believe it, and they put it out there. in their books and teach everybody, teach the kids, and they say that this is absolutely real. And then, 10, 20, 30 years later, scientists come up with something else. They find more information and other things to disprove what they thought was real. Now they think something else is real. So they dogmatically throw that out to the world and insist that this is real. These are the real things, real science, the real truth of our world. And still not right, still not real. They're starting to find things. Some people are starting to find things. A lot of the best stuff that people have found so far is being hidden from the general public. It's being kept secret and being used by the industrial military complex in their secret stuff that they do, secret things that they make and that they are inventing and testing. But it's dribbling out, and it'll start pouring out real soon, because the old world, the upside down, backwards turning wheel world, is falling apart, and it can't be put back together. It's just too crumbled apart. And the instructions from the ancients are, don't even try to pick up the pieces and put it back together and make what was there before, because it's a nightmare, and we don't want it. We don't want it. We have to find new things, and the things that are real, things that are built out of love. Our universe is built out of love. And we, us, as entities that live on past this physical body and perhaps come and have another physical life as a human here on Earth, we have essentially eternal life. We've been around a really, really, really long time, longer than we can comprehend. And we're going to be around longer than we can comprehend, and experiencing so many different kinds of things through the eons. That's the real us. And that's who we have to get to know. That's who we have to let out of the box. That's where all the information is, the truth is. There's an ancient saying that all the information of the universe, all the truths of the universe are inside you. That's true. They're also out there in the universe. But we have a kind of a holographic mirror of it inside us as well. Everybody does. Everything does. And all this information that is really true about things, it's all starts with love. The whole universe, first thing born is love. Everything's built out of love. Our entity is built out of love. We are love. And when the ancients talk about love, this is a whole different thing than what we have been learning through our lives in the asleep world, full of masks, all upside down and backwards. What they call love is extremely conditional. Love or affection or acceptance is only doled out if you do what the other person wants, if you follow the social rules, if you follow trying to be the picture that somebody else is holding of you, of who you are and what you should be doing. And when we don't live up to the picture, then you don't get any of that so-called love, not accepted. not approved of, probably shunned, probably people turned away from you, opportunities taken away. That's not love. It has nothing to do with love. The love we are built out of is absolutely unconditional love. Unconditional. There are no rules. There are no, you have to do this or be this in order to get the love or feel the love. No. It's unconditional, and it is the base. It is the foundation. It is the consciousness that is the beginning of everything in our universe. Foundation of everything and everybody. And the foundation of how the connectedness works. How we are connected to everybody and everything. And we're sharing this unconditional love. The ancients would say it's unconditional love. And it comes with unconditional acceptance of everybody and everything just exactly as they are, with no judgments, no expectations being forced on you to be something else. Pure acceptance. Kind of contemplate that as something that our modern culture just doesn't know, has no concept of. Our culture is so built on hierarchy and judgment and separation. That's what holds that world together. That's why as we wake up, we need to tune into that love. We are that love. And our beingness, the Atticus would call our beingness our song. Our song is a demonstration. It is a piece of diversity, a piece of love that is different than all the other pieces. We're a unique individual, connected to everybody and everything, but completely unique and individual. And that base of what that is love, is unconditional love. We have it in our heart, in our heart chakra, in our heart space. Even our physical heart radiates, works, is energized by that love. And with that love, that unconditional love, we have this acceptance of others and whatever beings, the trees, the rocks, the air, the water, everything. It allows us to get closer and more connected. It allows us to do what the Atticus call song to other. My truth, my song, my awareness, my consciousness to yours. Connecting, connecting. Creating bonds and ties that continue to exist till the end of the universe. That's what our consciousness is. That's where we're headed. That's why we need to tune into our own consciousness and start to wake up, tuning into the unconditional love, the true unconditional love that lives in your heart, lives in your beingness, your song. That's a good first step. You begin to feel more about who you really are and what you are, where you've been through the eons, where you might be going. Feel your connectedness. And when we do that, we tune into the information of the universe, the truth, the real truth of things. An example would be water, the truth of water. What does modern culture, modern science say water is? They have a very small description, H2O, 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen. It bonds together, it makes water. Water collects stuff because it's liquid. And so it'll collect minerals and other things like that. And we need to have it. We need to drink it. It's convenient to use to wash ourselves, wash our car, stuff like that. They have other descriptions. It's pH, and water evaporates. Water condenses back into liquid water. Water can freeze. Very small description. With your love and your awakeness, you're waking up with that feeling, with the awareness, with your consciousness, learning to collect your attention and focus it. Try focusing it on water and the truth of water. Who is water and what is water? Water, like everything else, is alive, but water has a lot of surprises. It is so very, very, very conscious. It has a huge consciousness, which is so much more expanded than our own human consciousness. So much more. Collects information, shares information, collects electrical things, electromagnetic energies, electrical current, and uses it, knows how to use it. It can change its form. It can restructure itself. It brings life. It maintains life. The ancients say, you'll hear a lot of indigenous people say this, water brings life. It is life. It brings and gives life. That's where life is. So that is my suggestion, my challenge, I guess you could say. Look at water, feel the water, talk to the water, open yourself up with love. Give love to the water. Give thanks and gratitude to the water. With feeling, if you got to feel it when you do that. And see what happens. See what the water does. See what the water tells you, or gives to you, or shows you. It's a very good place to start. So that's what consciousness is. That's what it's all about for us right now, in this moment of time. So I think that about covers it all.
Thank you, Kay. Thank you. Beautiful.
That was fantastic. Thank you, Kay.
You are so very, very welcome. Because I love sharing these things with people. And it's such an honor. It's a deep honor. It's a deep privilege to be able to pass this information on It's been passed down so carefully, generation to generation to generation, for so many millennia. So many, many, many millennia. And especially for this time, for the end of this world when we would need it the most. So it is a very big honor for me to be able to share these things. So thank you. Thank you all.
Okay, we have a little bit of time for questions. If there are any, you can go to the Q&A icon, and if you have questions, put them in there. I especially wanted to thank you for bringing the water in here, because it's such, I mean, words are hard to come by when talking about water. It's the foundation of life. Healthy, structured, resurrected water is the foundation of life and health, consequently.
Yeah.
And it is so conscious. Do you have anything, Laura?
Gratitude. And okay, your words are just so beautiful. You know, I get swept up in just listening to not just the content of the way you're sharing, but there's so much medicine when I listen to you. And I'm just, there's, you know, as you were saying, you know, handing this down, you know, you're offering so much knowledge in every word you're saying. But there's also so much medicine. It's just beautiful listening to a very big topic, and often people go very, 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 very heavy. But all I can feel as you're delivering this content and sharing the information is the beauty of it. So thank you for that. I just say I feel warm and fuzzy is probably not the accurate after listening to that. My one question, unless somebody else has a question, is kind of the chicken and the egg. And I know better than to think of things linearly, but I'm a flowchart kind of person. I like my organized flowchart. When you were saying consciousness and connectedness, those two. So to be connected, you need to be more conscious, or to be conscious, you need to be more connected. Or is this the chicken and the egg and I'll never know?
Well, they're both true. They're both correct.
It's chicken and an egg, isn't it?
More or less. Yeah.
Okay. That at least puts this organized mind to peace, that you need to have one before you have the other.
They go together. They come
together.
into your awareness together, especially if you are looking for it, if you allow it. In the modern culture, we've been taught to not allow anything, any kind of ideas that are different, anything that is too out there, too far different than what the status quo of the modern culture believes. And so when we come up to these concepts, especially for the first time, it just seems really radical, really out there, a little loopy. But if we can get past that, if we can set that aside, and even if you have to start with, well, what if what she said was true? What if? Then what would that be like? What would that look like? What would that feel like? Sometimes it's the only way sometimes that we can get through our masky big chunks of incorrect information that we've got stored in ourselves, in our mind, in our subconscious, literally in our physical tissue. What if those other ideas were true? And at least gets your toe outside the box. Start poking a hole, and you can kind of tear the hole a little bit at a time. And some people can tear through the box right away, just shred it. Others need, a slower approach. They have a slower tool for tearing the box, and that's okay. But we all need to do that. We all need to get out of that cultural dictating box, because we aren't free at all. And we live in a belief that we're not connected to anything, which leaves us at the mercy of the box and the culture that makes the box, and all their ideas and their shoulds and their pictures of us. You should be this. You should be just like that. You have to do this. You have to do that. You cannot do any of that. All the shoulds. And all of those things are just somebody else's idea that have been passed down for millennia, literally, century after century, generation after generation. And it's grown more intense and bigger and dominating through the years. And we're reaching the height of that, of the possibilities of that way of living and thinking and being. This is the end of that world. It's as far as that whole dance can go. It's crumbling. It's dying. And like my teachers have said, as that old backwards, upside down world is crumbling away, those who want to hang on to it are desperate. They are becoming desperate to rebuild the old world the way they have always known it. They're picking up the pieces, they're trying to shove them back together, and they get louder and louder and noisier and more threatening and demanding more attention as we go. And if you look around, that's what's happening. But they're dying. They're dying out. Everything that they think and everything they believe in is dying out, and will be completely gone in a short period of time. So we need to wake up. Humans, the human race needs to wake up, and they need to do it now. Now's the time. Got to get out of the box. Got to build a new world based on love stuff, song stuff, heart stuff, equality and happiness and connectedness and acceptance. No judgment. A world, imagine it, a world with no judgment. Our whole planetary culture having no judgment at all. Discernment, of course. You must discern things to see whether that water is really, really hot or if it's really cold. We have to discern things. But judging is condemning, and it's a dark energy thing. You create dark, destructive energy within yourself, and you send it out to others and other things out into the world, and create thought forms full of it that float around and have kind of a contagious atmosphere to them, enticing others who are still asleep to jump into the judgment. We have to clean it all up. It's time.
Thank you.
Good question. Really good questions.
You're still blowing my mind with the idea that time has a consciousness right now. I can't even ask questions around that. I appreciate like dropping that into the rabbit hole of my life and ponderment. So I appreciate that. That's very cool. Did anybody else have questions?
No questions, no other questions, but I want to thank you for bringing the judgment up again. It goes back to whichever way we live is the world we are creating. And if we live in judgment, we continue to build that world. We contribute to building that world. So learning to be without that and without a lot of other things that the old world has taught us to live with or live from. If we change that, we make a big impact in what's coming in the shift.
It's the only way it can happen. It has to change inside each person. The ancients have been saying that for so many millennia. It has to change inside each person. Each one of us has to grow, just the way that you said. Each one of us has to eliminate things like judgment out of our entire vocabulary of how to be, how to think, and how to feel. All that interior world. Everybody has to change that interior environment, because what Helmut said is absolutely true, and it's been part of the teachings forever. And that's the world that you are living inside yourself, the way you think and feel and live and do and act. Inside yourself is the world that you create outside. You create it for yourself individually, and you create it for the whole human race. You contribute to creating that ugly world that we know so well, that we grew up in, and it has to die away. We have to let it go out of ourselves. We have to let it go so it can die away completely, and we don't bring it into the new world. That means change. And we have that choice.
Another important piece that you touched on when in your talk is that we literally need to forget everything we have been taught. And that brings me to a quote that I've been playing with in the last couple of weeks. It's attributed to Mark Twain, but there have been others of contemporaries of his and other people through history who said that it isn't what you know that gets you into trouble. It's what you think you know for sure that just ain't so. And I think that describes a lot of what's going on today in the world. And that gets to the core of literally forgetting or questioning everything you think you know. That also is the prerequisite to access the knowledge that is inside you, all the knowledge and the answers that are inside you, which you also spoke to.
It is right on. We just have to forget it and just let it go. Drop it out of our lives. And we think we know a whole lot of stuff. We need to let go of what we think we know about other people. We think we know the people that we grew up with, the people we live with, maybe a mate, best friends, coworkers. We think we know them. But as long as we are still asleep and living from that asleep way of being, we have created a picture of each of those people inside our own mind of who they are, what they're like. We have in that picture, we have what we want them to be like, but we wish, we hope they are at least a little bit, this way, like this, or a little bit like that, and we just make it up. It's a whole made up picture. And of course, society has a picture of who we should be and what we should be and how we should be doing or thinking or feeling. And we're trained to live up to other people's pictures of us. And we learn how to put a pressure on others around us to live up to the picture we have of them. Well, pretty much everything in that picture is not real. It's not true. We haven't seen the real person. We may have spent 20 years with them, living intimately, 30 or 40 or 50 years, but we don't really see them. We see the picture we hold up. And there's a whole world of exploration to find out who these other people are that you've been spending all your time in your life with. Who are they really? What are they really like inside themselves? We haven't paid any attention to our real connectedness to these people because we believe there's separation. We're an island. All of that is not true. We have a lot of exploring to do. Very, very fun, very glorious exploring. And this is where part of our own true nature of our beingness, our song, comes into play. Because the truth of our beingness is that we are very curious entities. We're very loving, we're very passionate, we're very curious and very creative. And we need to let ourselves be that. We need to let everybody else be that in their own way. Everyone is unique and individual. There's a lot of diversity, and we ignore the diversity because that's what we grew up with the asleepness. Diversity is bad. We want everybody to be the same. We want everything to be the same. But diversity, our song thrives just like all of creation. Creator thrives on diversity and creativity and the beauty of that. The beauty in that incredible amount of diversity. Our world, us, ourselves, each other, everything on our planet, in our universe, is so incredibly beautiful. There's so much beauty there, which is full of so much love. It grows out of love. And we can experience that in ourselves. Because that's what we are. Beauty. And in all the others, there's so much beauty in there. So we need to forget past behaviors while people are waking up and forgive. Forgiveness is a very big part of the teachings and a big part of waking up. It's a big part of discovering our consciousness and allowing it to expand, because it's not going to expand. It's not going to grow as long as we are not forgiving everybody, everything. Got to forgive. And you got to be grateful. Real, true, heartfelt, body-felt gratitude and thanks for everything. Everything. When we can do that, our consciousness can grow, it can expand. And it means all of our physical senses can grow, can experience more than what we have allowed them to experience. And we can start tuning into our spirit senses and exploring what that's all about. And the incredible beauty and diversity and information and love and energies that is there in that exchanging and sharing and the experiencing of it all. That's there. That's ours. It's waiting for us. It's part of who and what we are. It's part of what our universe is. It's all right there already. We just have to tune into it. And that means taking back our consciousness, taking back our attention, taking back our focus, and choosing what we're going to focus our attention on at any given moment. It's our choice, sacred choice. We don't need to give it away to our masks and the programs and the culture or to other people. Things don't work quite right when we do that. They go downhill. So that includes your awareness. It includes your health. Health is all part of this, gaining back real health and learning to take responsibility for your own health. Learning to take responsibility for your own mind and thinking and emotions, beliefs. That's what it's all about.
Okay, we are going way past the hour again, but my sister has a question. So we're going to go a little longer today.
Yes. Lucy? Is this
Yeah.
Lucy? Hi, Lucy.
Hello. And she asked me to translate. Why, I don't know, because she speaks perfect English.
Because she wants it accurate.
But her question is, how can I live in a world? How can I live without judgment in a world full of judgment?
That's an excellent question. You have to choose to start not judging. And that means watching ourselves. We have to start paying attention to what we're doing with our interior thoughts and our emotions. And we're trained to judge in a bad way, in this condemning, black energy dart way. Everything, all the time. Devana used to say, we don't even know how to go down the toilet paper aisle in the grocery store and select a brand of toilet paper without condemning, judging, hating all the other brands. The one we pick is the good guy. So we pick it, put it in the cart, and all the others, there's something bad, there's something wrong, there's something negative. We're throwing black energy darts at all of it. Toilet paper. We know it when we're driving. That's easy to see. When you start looking for it, it's really easy to see. You can see others. I mean, if you don't drive so much, you know, you can watch the drivers. They're living in a world of judgment inside themselves. So they judge everything else. And they judge and throw nasty energy at all these other drivers. They're all doing it wrong. They're dangerous. Look at them. They're inconsiderate. A lot of times, what we judge as bad, we get angry at it. We're not just throwing nasty hatred energy, we're throwing anger. And usually mixed up in all of that, there's some fear. So we have this fear bubbling in there. And that's an ugly combination. And we're so used to it, we don't recognize it at all. We don't even notice it happening. It's so common. It's expected that everybody lives like that and thinks like that and feels like that, believes like that. But we don't have to. We have choice. We can choose to not do that. I remember when I was studying with the Hedekas, and this first came up about the judgment, trying not to judge everything. Catch yourself, stop yourself in the middle. And in the beginning, it was really tricky. But you get into it. And it's not all that hard to start noticing that you do this all the time, this interior babble. This is the kind of junk we're babbling. And we do it all day, and we probably do it all night in our dreams. It's so habitual, we're addicted to it. We're addicted to thinking that way. But we can catch ourselves and stop ourselves in the act. And as soon as we can do that just a few times, it gets much easier and much easier and much easier. Before you know it, you've just stopped automatically thinking that way. That piece of automatic pilot has been unplugged. You stop thinking the thoughts, you stop feeling all the feelings of it. You're free of it. So the more people that do that and do it for real, you have to change yourself inside yourself first. It has to start with you first. with all individual people. When we can do it as an individual, we can do it as a culture, and we can do it as a total human race. The concept of loving your neighbor as you would love yourself, that kind of thing, the sayings that come out of Judeo-Christian teachings, similar sorts of concepts out of Buddhism, Hinduism. Most people are so asleep they don't really notice what that really means. But the concept of stopping the hatred, stopping the judgment, stopping the dark, black energy darts, it's been out there for a long time. And it's surprising once you get over the first hurdle of it, then you start actually catching yourself do it, and you stop in the middle. You just stop what you're thinking, try to think the opposite. Try to think some love and acceptance and gratitude and forgiveness to whatever you're working on, you're babbling on. It becomes a new habit. It gets easier and easier and easier, and then it is the new habit, the new way of being. It doesn't take as long as some people who might think. It's not as hard as you think it is. It's very doable. And these are the first steps of truly waking up. This is what real waking up means. This is what it's all about. Getting to that unconditional love and acceptance that we are built out of. Every cell, every molecule in our body is created out of that love. It is love. We have to touch back into it. And that leads to touching into the connectedness to everyone, everything, and feeling the love, the real love, and feeling forgiveness and feeling gratitude. If we could do those through the day, we start doing it through our sleep. It starts popping up in our dreams. And because we are connected so deeply and we radiate out everything that we are and think and feel, and that goes to everybody around us, and it goes to the space. It saturates the space and the room and the walls and everything. Other people run into that. They absorb it and they learn from it, whether they know it or not. They're learning from it. And the more opportunity they have to run into that, they start changing. They don't even have to hear a lecture about it. They start changing. Because that love and that awakeness and that new information, it feels so good and it's so healing. People start waking up. And this is the time everybody has to wake up. This is the end of that old world and the beginning of the new one. We're on that bridge in between. And we affect everybody around us. We affect everything around us and us inside. The more we do it for ourselves, the more we feel the real love and the real connectedness and the real beauty of everybody, everything. And the bigger and stronger and clearer it gets. Our perception of ourselves and the world around us and those others around us, it gets clearer and clearer. the more we can do these things, the clearer everything gets. That means the more awake you're getting. And as you get more awake, your consciousness increases. And that means we're able to perceive even more and more accurately. So it just sort of, grows and travels on its own. Once that spiral is started, spreads out. When I was studying with the Hedicas, the kids were really little, they were really little. And I was learning a new way to be, which meant I had to kind of think about a new way to parent. I wasn't supposed to tell anybody about the Hedicas, not even the kids. And they wouldn't have really understood. They were pretty little. So the only thing I could really do was enact and be the teachings. Whatever I was learning to be and do, I tried to teach them how to be and do. And energetically, it just always was radiating out to them. And that they learned by that too. So to the best of my ability, I raised them with as much the teachings as I knew, as I could be living myself. And it made a huge difference. They are wonderful people. They are wonderful people. My daughter has 2 daughters who are grown now. But I could see how it rippled out. Even though I had never spoken about the Hedicas until 1989-ish with the first book. The way my daughter has grown and grown and grown and matured in a waking up fashion in her own way is just a beautiful thing to observe and feel. And the daughters, same thing. They're amazing. And their path of awakeness will continue with every year they're alive. And for me too, it never ends. You don't reach a place where, okay, now I'm awake and the growth stops. Doesn't work that way. We continue to grow. Just grow and grow and grow and explore and create. And it's a very beautiful and exciting life. So I hope that answers your question, Lucy. So glad to hear that you're here.
Thanks for the question. That was great.
Beautiful question.
And I'm glad you're here too.
Yeah.
All right. Unless you have any last thoughts, Laura, we're going to close it out here.
No, I'm good. That was great.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Kay. Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Helmut, for making this happen, all the incredible behind-the-scenes stuff. And thank you, Laura, for all of your incredible behind-the-scenes stuff and being here. Yeah. And everybody out there, thank you so much.
Okay, if you want to join us live in the future, for people who are watching this somewhere else, katase.world/live. And thanks for joining us live today, everybody. We love you. See you next time.
Love you all.
Have fun.
Mwah. Lots of fun
Bye-bye.
and beauty
And beauty.
and water.
All right.
Okay.